Good Sunday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now with a severe thunderstorm warning situation across parts of the Big Bend and in towards South Georgia here. A couple warnings in play. One of them including Madison, the other one including Valdosta here. The one that goes from Madison goes to 12:15 this afternoon, and the one for Valdosta until 12:30. So an active situation here, unfortunately, here on this late Sunday morning as we're tracking everything here using velocity. I know we have an area that kind of stands out here in northern Madison County right now with some stronger winds there around State Road 53. That's where we have some brighter pixels showing up here at about 4,000 feet. We've already had some wind damage reported further back toward the west. I know earlier on looking more in toward the Florida counties, a little less population density with this, but then when they issued this old warning here up toward the north, thought we needed to go ahead and jump on because Valdosta is pretty populated here, the I-75 corridor. So that's what we're on right now. As that report earlier toward Jefferson County was around 10:50 this morning, right when that first warning got issued pretty much, where the Jefferson County Dispatch reported a power line down an old Lloyd Road near Lloyd Creek Road. So that was from the 911 call center, a power line knocked down there on Old Lloyd Road near Lloyd Creek Road. So a situation that we're being very mindful of here this morning as we approach those afternoon hours. I know some folks will be either getting out of church here in the next few moments or maybe a little bit later on here. So just got to be extra careful as they're out on the roads here as we're looking ahead in toward that timeline. Got to make sure everybody stays safe here because we don't want anything too bad here to happen with these storms moving around. It's not just about the two warned areas here where we have the potential for some damaging gusts. We also have some significant weather advisories in play. Even further over, you see that storm there. As we're looking, you can kind of see it on the edge of the radar beam for Tallahassee, where we have that box there, that smaller box as we're getting toward areas there, Putnam and Alachua and Clay and Bradford counties. So we'll dive into that here in just a moment. But I do want to go ahead and explain these thunderstorm warnings right now. This thunderstorm warning until about 12:15 that's in play for northeastern Jefferson, north central Taylor, and Madison counties was issued for a severe thunderstorm that was located a little while ago, about 12 miles southeast of Monticello, moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. So Madison, Greenville, Lee, over toward, it looks like a Mosley Hall, Lamont, Cherry Lake, Hamburg. Kind of get the idea there. Over toward that looks like the Pinetta area or Panetta, depending on that local pronunciation as well. It looks like it's kind of headed right there. That's why I want to go ahead and make sure I mention that, even though sometimes these pronunciations can get a little tricky here in these more rural areas. But just kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on here this morning. So you see there, right, headed right for that area. Same with areas there around Hanson, just to the north of Hanson there, based on this velocity scan here. So going to be crossing over. It looks like State Road 145. You see Cliveville there. May end up getting some of that depending on how far north this goes here. That's why they issued, I think, that warning to the north. I know we had some other wind areas showing up off the Moody, though. So there may be something else they're trying to kind of see in there. It's trying to edge its way further up into toward that northern polygon. But again, National Weather Service in Tallahassee here doing a great job this morning at trying to keep people safe, keep folks safe here. And let's go ahead right now and go to the broad view, though. You'll be able to see what's happening. You see these temperatures here toward the east. You see that green area that was expanded here earlier this morning. Marginal risk for most of our counties here now for severe weather potential. You see another line there that's starting to affect areas toward Quitman County there. And some of those areas there in toward southwest Georgia. Just starting to see that. So we'll watch to see if there's enough instability there. It's a little bit cooler back out that way. So we're hoping maybe things won't get as nasty out there in toward those western areas now that we've had some of this rain come across, like Tallahassee. I know there was a flash flood warning in play for Gulf County earlier on. So just kind of interesting to keep an eye on things. A marginal wind risk here in play. Not seeing that for hail, just for the wind. Those damaging gusts could get to about 60 miles an hour. So we watch and we track, and a lot warmer to the east. That instability there, 88 around Keystone there, 91 at Cecil, 91 to Ward. It looks like Mayport. So we're keeping an eye on everything. You see some stuff coming out of the Gulf of Mexico here. Still a little more unfavorable in some of these spots. So it is a little bit cooler around Cross City. They're at 77 degrees. So again, checking just everything that we have here. I know that rain I was talking about just west of area this morning. They had about, according to the radar, about 6 inches around Port St. Joe there, just west of area, but not so much in North Franklin County. So that's the good news there. But we're going to keep watching things, obviously. Keep tracking them here in the Weather Center. Of course, we're keeping our eyes on everything. We covered these 62 counties right here with a very, very big focus. Right now, we're watching the stuff out there. I know they're just continuing to warn over Brooks and Lanier and Lowndes, but they're canceling a little sliver of Cook and Thomas County, the one into ward Georgia. It wasn't getting into ward Adele, and it's even getting trimmed back a little bit further now. Based on the latest assessments here. But again, we're in Bradford. We're watching these warnings that are in play. One for parts of Jefferson, Madison, and Taylor to 12:15. Another now for Brooks, Lanier, and Lowndes until 12:30 here. So that's kind of storyline there. So that warning for Brooks, Lanier, and Lowndes here, we're talking about a situation where severe thunderstorm is located in equipment moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. So Lake Park, Valdosta, Quitman, I-75 at exit 16, Remerton, Dasher, Naylor, Twin Lakes, Valdosta, Regional Airport, Kinderloo, I-75 at exit 5, over toward Nankin there, Impress, Clyattville, Blue Springs, I-75 at exit 22, I-75 at exit 11, and Stockton there under this. So again, just something to kind of bear in mind here. With this warning, southeastern Lanier, Lowndes, and southeastern Brooks counties until 12:30. So, again, we're going to keep checking that here, these wind potentials in the area. I know another thing I want to check on here at this moment is that storm. We talked about it here. I know it's not severe in nature. We do have some storms that are gathering a little bit here as we're looking toward north central, northeast Florida. One of those here at about 11:25 is located near Melrose, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. So you can kind of see here just the overall vicinity, some of this accent here, not so much wind though, which is good. Here. We're going to keep monitoring, obviously, as we progress here to that timeline. I mean, you have some lightning in southern Bradford County now starting to up as well. Again, folks, getting out of church over the next little bit, just got to be extra careful. Northern Ocala here, some lightning. This is pretty early start here for this accident. So, get a new warning that we're now being told for parts of Hamilton, Suwannee, and Eccles counties until 12:30. Hamilton, Suwannee, and Eccles until 12:30 now. I'll switch to the Moody radar. It looks like winds are becoming a little more apparent on that now. They weren't showing up as good here earlier, which means these may be strengthening because we're lower down to the surface. So these winds may be getting down there now. So this warning has been issued by the Jacksonville office now until 12:30. So 11:44, severe thunderstorm warning in play there now for northwestern Suwannee, Hamilton, and western Eccles counties. These severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from 10 miles southwest of Lake Park to Suwannee River State Park, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. So Jasper, Jennings, over towards Suwannee Springs, Statenville, Suwannee River State Park, Mayday, Blue Springs, and Crossroads under this. So again, we're just going to keep giving you the latest updates here to protect you, your friends, and your family this morning. I know you can see some stronger wind there in northern Madison County, as we're showing off the Tallahassee radar as well. It's about 50 miles an hour. Even if you don't get a gust of 58 down toward the surface, you could still have some damage here. It's something to bear in mind, something to keep in mind. And then we have this other area, wind enhancement, kind of extending on over here into parts of Hamilton County here as well. So more like 40 miles an hour around, looks like Florida 6 there. But we'll keep on monitoring the situation here as the timeline does go along. So things could always strengthen on us here. We're going to go ahead and broaden the view just a little bit here. I know there's some wind enhancement south of Live Oak, nothing overwhelming, but caught my eye just a little bit here. We'll watch it. We'll watch that as that kind of gets closer to Live Oak over the next little bit. Some stronger winds that are in the order of up to 50 miles an hour are possible down there. Same for Lake City. You have Perry, you have Mayo there. Winds up to 50 possible in that area too. These storms could strengthen, so a warning can't be ruled out for Perry here over the next little bit. Same for the Live Oak area. We're watching some of that wind near McAlpin right now. So again, I'm gonna be checking things here, giving you guys the latest updates. I know right now there's some storminess around I-10, some storminess around I-10, but it's not necessarily the worst there at this present time. Let me check out some cameras on a little bit. We'll see. Just kind of depending on what I think here as that timeline does progress. But again, looking right now at our latest scans here, we're going to keep on looking at some things and trying to give you guys the latest updates here on what's happening, on what is going on. We're just going to keep checking all of our different tools that we have at our disposal. In fact, let's check 75. Let's check 75 here because this stuff, this wind axis here, trying to get a little bit closer toward areas there. Let's look south of Jasper on 75. I think that might be a good move. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. See what conditions look like on I-75 on that Florida 511 camera south of Jasper here this morning. Definitely seeing some wet conditions. So let's go ahead and send that to you guys. If you are at home right now, we'll go ahead and pop that on up here at this present point in time. And you're going to see what we're talking about there. I-75 at mile marker 452.4. Kind of telling that weather story here. It looks like some folks had their flashers on and the like. So some rough conditions here this morning along Interstate 75. So again, I think I just heard some thunder maybe where we're at here in Bradford County, by the way, but might have barely been able to hear that in the background. I'm not sure, maybe not. But again, just continuing to watch things here. This is toward I-75 in Hamilton County. Again, it's a bit thunderstorm morning and planned about 12:30. Make sure you're inside if you can be. I mean, these folks unfortunately can't be there on the roads unless they get off real quick. But make sure you're inside and away from windows in this type of setup here, in this type of situation. So again, it is the best thing to do here because trees can fall. Not going to be widespread here. This is a marginal severe situation right now, I think. That's why we were kind of deciding whether we should go on or not, because we were just seeing that one warning earlier on there, that one area. I mean, there were two warnings in play for a few moments, but now we saw the expansion toward Valdosta, then we saw Jacksonville issue a warning toward Hamilton, Suwannee, and Eccles counties until 12:30. So a lot going on here as we're approaching that lunch hour on this Sunday. Let's go ahead and go back on over here right now. So we'll go ahead and jump back to the Doppler here and zoom back out a little bit. That probably gone to the east there. Includes Jasper, Jennings, Suwannee Springs, Statenville, over towards Suwannee River State Park. Hopefully nobody's out there caught off guard by this. Mayday, Blue Springs, and Crossroads. I know we had that rain risk here in play on our forecast late Thursday in that update. We had 60% there for that period there as we were looking a little bit further back. I know looking at that forecast here once again, just to kind of reemphasize that, Roy, just to kind of let you guys know here, I know in that extended forecast that we talked about there, we were explaining those rain chances as the timeline did move along here, just trying to give you that heads up on exactly what to expect. I mean, we had that 60% chance on Saturday, that 70% chance today, 60% chance tomorrow. So even if we don't have as many severe storms today, which we shouldn't with a marginal risk in play, things in theory should be a little more confined as we just get a new warning issued to 12:30 now toward Perry, unfortunately, kind of telling a story maybe that won't happen like that. But in general, I don't think these storms will be quite as potent as yesterday, not quite as much energy available here in the overall setup, it wouldn't seem. But again, a new warning just coming out now to 12:30. So that's something to be mindful of here. Still some pretty high surface-based cape values here. So this warning now for the Perry area to 12:30. around Taylor County. Let's go ahead and zoom in. We talked about it a few moments ago. We were starting to see some enhancement. Yes, unfortunately, it's starting to get even stronger now. Just north of US 98 there, moving in toward Perry here over the next few moments. This storm here located near Perry, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. Northwestern Lafayette County, northern Taylor County, southeastern Madison County here in the Big Bend of Florida, all included. So Perry, Pineland, Chancey over toward Boyd, Smithville, even over toward the Buckville area, Mayo Junction, Townsend, Lake Bird, the airport there. We have Busell Junction, Day, Hampton Springs. Kind of get the idea here, folks. We got some nasty weather coming on in towards some of these different regions in our viewing circle. And now, not just 1, 2, or 3 warnings, but 4 severe thunderstorm warnings here in play. So, something to be mindful of here. Something to definitely be taken seriously here in this type of setup. Now, over to the east, I know we've heard thunder in Bradford County, no advisory towards Stark yet. Small advisory as we're getting toward areas for the southeast. That includes at least a small sliver of Bradford, but there is some more lightning developing, which can always be a hazard. We had, according to media reports anyway, an issue with somebody getting struck by lightning yesterday on the first coast. But looking here right now, we're seeing some different things here with this lightning coming into play, moving up towards Stark over the next few moments, and Hampton, east side of town, already having some of that, a little bit of lightning there. Northeast of New River as well, moving in the direction of Lodi. So, watching that here. I know, just seeing still reports trickle in from yesterday. We talked about how busy yesterday was. I know California Emergency Management reports just coming in now that a metal carport or outbuilding was damaged in St. Mark's from yesterday's storms. Just getting that in. We had a slew of reports, mainly in Georgia, but a few in Florida as well. So definitely a busy day on that Saturday. Today shouldn't be quite as busy. Cross our fingers. The risk is not a slight one. We don't have a watch in play, but we have 4 warnings already on the map here that are concurrent. So again, we have to be mindful of that. Let's see what we have here right now. To go back on into Bradford real quick. I know, again, folks may be leaving church here pretty soon. We're just going to be kind of careful here in this type of setup. Let's look at our camera. You can see the darker skies now coming into play here. We're east to Stark, looking back toward the west there, kind of getting into some of this accent there, maybe a little bit of a southerly component really with this shot as well. And you can kind of see how the conditions are deteriorating. No advisory or warning, but some nastier weather as those conditions do deteriorate here right now across parts of our region. Again, this is the view right now. No warning, no advisory, not needing one necessarily. I'll look at velocity here, but just, since we're in Bradford, we're east to Stark. I just want to focus here for a moment on this, and folks maybe just tuning in and wondering what's going on. We're not on for this area. We're just watching it, since we do know a lot of folks maybe on the roadways here over the next few moments, maybe grabbing a bite to eat, something like that here. So again, we're just going to keep on looking at things here. And keeping our eyes on our local situation on that hyper local level. But everybody in our 62 counties considered a local situation, obviously here. So again, let's go ahead and zoom back on out now, just a little bit. We'll go ahead and go back on over here right now toward our other areas. Let me go ahead and just keep on monitoring things here. We're just going to keep on giving you guys the latest updates on what's going on here at 11:55 on this Sunday morning. You can see there just west of Live Oaks Airport, some gusty winds going up there as well. So just got to be kind of careful with that. Some more wind there. These winds look pretty marginal in nature here. They look pretty marginal in nature, but we're just going to keep monitoring them, obviously, here. Trying to give you guys the latest updates on exactly what is going on here. Just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what is happening here in this type of situation. So, again, just trying to make sure we give you all these details. Let me go ahead and see here everything that's coming on in right now. Just trying to check all my different resources here. Hearing some thunder now in this dark area. Again, not considered technically strong, but lightning can still be dangerous. So whenever thunder roars, go indoors if you can. It's the preferred the preferred thing to do here. Kind of getting tongue-tied here later on this Sunday morning, but again, you kind of get the idea. We're monitoring things to keep you guys informed. Let's go ahead and zoom on in here toward Flagler County. A strong storm situation down there. Not severe, but seeing gusts there around 40 miles an hour. Seeing gusts around 40 miles an hour there in toward Flagler County. Looking at areas there near Pearson. That community here in toward areas outside of our main circle for now. But moving on in here over the next few moments, and then again, I just kind of gathering the latest details here. I know we're trying to see exactly what is going on with all these warnings. Again, these warnings here, stuff's kind of marginal. These winds look like 40 to 50, but there could still be some damage. Already had some damage observed there by about an hour ago out toward the west. Just watching the situation. Just a nasty one there towards some of our different communities. Let's look back here. You can kind of see that report there. Jefferson County Dispatch reporting a power line down on Old Lloyd Road near Lloyd Creek Road around 10:50. As we go ahead and look back now, this wind is starting to cross there I-75 south of Jennings. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that camera back up that we were on a few moments ago here in this type of setup. Let's get back down there south of Jennings. See what those conditions look like right now here. We're going to go ahead and go on over there right now to try to give you guys the latest. It does look pretty nasty there at this point. Well-defined storminess moving on in on the radar and on the camera. You can see here mile marker 465.9 on that Florida 511 perspective there, I-75. And some trees blowing around some here. So something to kind of bear in mind here as we're about to switch to that afternoon time frame here in just a matter of moments. Again, trying to give you guys the very latest here. You can see just treacherous conditions as we're watching live here. Some folks had their flashers on. You kind of get the idea. They're not being on the road right now, I'm sure. That'd be the case for these folks, but they're out here and they're trying to get through it safely. Most, if not, hopefully everybody probably will, but you just never know here in these type of setups. Again, let's just go ahead and get back on over to our Doppler here. I might see if we have more camera views. That's 465.9 on the mile marker there. Let's see if we can kind of move this around a little bit. See if I can get a view a little bit maybe further north. Might be kind of interesting here. About a mile to the north. Try to get that visual up for you guys. Be able to see a little bit wider side of things actually. It doesn't look quite as, based on just the tree movement because of the ankle, maybe not quite as nasty, but nonetheless it's still pretty treacherous out there. You can kind of see it's definitely a situation that you want to take easy as you're going out and about. So I know you're hearing that thunder in the background. We're in Bradford County. We're getting some of that electrical energy to get going here as we're at that lunch hour now. And hopefully when we get more development like that, that's going to preclude some of these storms here further back from the west to get further east. It's going to preclude that from happening in terms of maybe the severe properties. So we'll just have to wait and see though. But we could have quite a bit of rain here this afternoon in spots because of all the storminess developing in general. So again, this is a view right now though. I-75 at State Road 143 mile marker 466.9 here. This Florida 511 perspective. So definitely folks having their lights on here. So just gotta be extra careful. Let's go back to the Doppler. Trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. That's what it's all about here at Clouds Weather. I know you see some strong wind in some other areas here, but severe potential northeast of Perry. It looks like a little bit, I would say, a weak rotation. That may just be the angle this is hitting because sometimes when you get a little open area here, it kind of shows up a little bit differently when you have that open area. But we got to be kind of careful just in case something were to kind of quickly spin up, because I do see it's kind of like a storm merger situation, so that could, in theory, present us with a small risk of a quick spin up tornado. It would be unlikely to happen, but not completely zero the probability of that here today. So that's in parts of northeastern Taylor County right now. We'll watch that. Looking there, you see these areas of wind there along, again, the interstate. We're just showing you the views. They weren't overwhelming necessarily, the winds, but they were still pretty nasty. Could get a tree to fall, something like that, or a tree limb to fall, and if that happens across the interstate, that can really cause some problems. So, speaking of some flood potential, we just got a flood advisory now for parts of Madison County until 3:15. Aerial flood advisory just being issued, you see, over the last hour. Near the interstate area, some of these spots have picked up 2+ inches in the purple. These white areas closer to 3 inches in this 1 hour. So, again, that's kind of the storyline there right now. And over parts of Madison County here. But again, watching things, of course, we're east of Stark. Right now, within our 62 counties, we have several that are under severe thunderstorm warnings here. We're not under one in Bradford. We have some lightning in the area. And in fact, I think conditions are deteriorating a little bit further now here. Maybe some rain starting here. So let's get to our camera side. Again, the wind's picking up a little bit as well, it would appear. So let's go ahead and jump back on over to our outdoor camera here and put that up in the corner for a moment. You see how the clouds aren't showing up as dark now because we're kind of getting into where that acts, and the wind not blowing too hard. Got a gust of 24 there on the Keystone Airport a little while ago, but again, I'm just going to continue to watch things here in the weather center. Let me go ahead and keep checking. Not too high on our wind gauge right now. We're going to keep looking. I'm going to look behind me here real quick. Yeah, not much wind at all so far, so that's good news. Only 9. That was our peak earlier. Right now, we're actually only at 3 miles an hour, so that's the good news. Could pick up a little bit as some of this kind of comes on in, but nothing that's warned or even advisory noted here at this point. But just trying to give you a little bit of ground truth here to what's going on. And right now, things aren't too bad. Not getting gusts to like 28 like what we had in our Davis weather station here east of Stark yesterday. But some lightning's in place. So just whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors if you can help it. That lightning right now, anyway, clustering here southeast of town a bit, but it can always pop up anywhere in this complex as it kind of pushes on in right at the wrong time, right when folks are trying to get there out of church and to restaurants potentially around the region, so, or just get home. I mean, in this type of weather, it should clear up a bit for a little while, but as we're looking, you kind of see how this is not going to last that area for too long, but we'll just have to keep on monitoring things. You hear that thunder rumble here in toward our region. So 11 miles an hour now. Our peak gust is now coming on in, it would appear. So that's the storyline so far. Nothing overwhelming. Still looking behind me. I know 89 degrees. That's going to drop some here. Heat index there getting into the triple digits. Again, that's going to drop down. So again, that's the storyline here. No warning here. It's just I know folks are maybe tuning in right now. We have multiple warnings to the west. Just want to know what's going on in Bradford County where we're at, and since we can flip that visual for you, that live camera view, I just wanted to kind of help you guys out. Feel like I might get a gust higher than 11 here in a moment, but not yet. So that's the good news. Okay, we're gonna keep watching. Gonna keep tracking. Let's go ahead and move away from this for now. Then I think I won't leave the camera up since I don't want to confuse anybody with our area here since we're watching stuff further back to the west. I know, let's get back over here. We'll keep an eye on our anemometer. Speaking of anemometer, they just got a gust in Perry there a little while ago, 43 miles an hour about 10 minutes ago. There's some pretty strong winds out there into where parts of Taylor County. And the rain's picking up where we're at east of Stark, but the wind not picking up yet. But again, you see there northeastern parts of Taylor County, seeing some wind enhancement there. Toward Hamilton County, we're seeing a lot of wind enhancement as well. So that's something to kind of bear in mind here as we're at this early afternoon timeline now. So Again, I'm just continuing to give you guys the very latest. Trying to give you guys the very latest. We're going to go ahead and zoom back out just a bit here. Again, I'm trying to let you guys know what's happening, what's going on. Definitely a nasty little setup here with warnings that go between 12:15 and 12:30 and toward that timeline with the expiration times. So let's really quickly go back to the east. With that storm right over our Stark here now. A little bit more wind. I mean, I'm seeing wind at 30 maybe in town on the radar. I want to check that sheriff's office weather sim station again. As we pull up our camera for a moment, you see the wind and rain there. But a sideways movement. Still not getting wind too strong on our anemometer, but let me go ahead and check here and count. See if it's a little bit stronger as our radar would indicate, our velocity mode would indicate here. Let's go ahead and just check on that here real quick. See if we can kind of get a gauge on that. You definitely see some of that rain kind of really blowing around there. Gust to 12 miles an hour just now being observed here. 22 though there at the sheriff's office weather sim station over the last few moments. Pretty nasty little thunderstorm coming across town right now at this present time. So again, kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on. Temperature's falling here. 86 degrees, heat index 9 in triple digits anymore. We get back in later, we'll see, but hopefully not. Gust to 15 now, gust to 15 miles an hour. So getting a little bit windier out there per se. Not just overwhelming, but enough that if we had a tree limb that was kind of laying around there, I mean, if the wind didn't get it yesterday, then the wind might kind of get it today if this is kind of more vulnerable there. Again, just gonna continue to watch things here. It's a pretty quick mover, so nothing overwhelming here. We are seeing a little bit of increase in strength here as it comes across town. I went to about 32 showing up a velocity. Only 15 though on my anemometer, but in town gust a little bit higher. That's what the radar would suggest. So kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on here early on this Sunday afternoon. You can see that it's moving up toward Lauderdale, going across 301 there. So that's kind of the storyline right now. They would have taken power outages toward the west. Not necessarily worried as much here. Could get some, but let's just kind of check some of them further out toward the west here. This storm's been passing by Stark here very quickly. So peak gust 15. Already about a quarter inch of rain though from this here. Piece to Stark on the rain gauge very quickly. Moving pretty quick though. Okay, let's get back to the west. We have all these warnings people are tuning in for, so don't want to leave you guys here hating per se. Let's go ahead and show you the latest. You see some wind enhancement northeast of Perry there in northeastern Taylor County. We'll watch that as I get to southern Madison County. That looks like some of the strongest of the action right now. We had a gust to get to 43 in Perry there at the airport just a little while ago. Looking here, we have some areas of brighter pixels showing up indicating stronger wind even outside of the warnings in toward Columbia and Hamilton counties here further outside of that formal warning I'm seeing, and even Suwannee County outside of that formal warning. We're getting some stronger winds showing up. We'll have to see if the warning has to get issued or not. Maybe again, if we get lucky here, if stuff kind of really forms so much here in the coverage, even if we have nasty weather this afternoon, it might kind of suppress that severe potential a little bit more. That's why we have a marginal risk instead of a slight risk here. Some of those different properties here in the setup today. So, looking at our power outage maps here, I'm looking east of Tallahassee, 145 customers in the dark in Jefferson County right now. According to PowerOutage.us, 299 out in Madison County, 248 in the dark in Dixie County, 232 in Levy. Taylor County only 25 so far, but that could increase. 169 in Suwannee County, 18 in Columbia County. So let me check just some other numbers here. I'm going to check Bradford because I know we didn't have any advisory, not needing one or anything necessarily, but just seeing a situation here where Did get a little bit gusty in there, but so far Clay Electric doesn't have anybody in the dark. That's good news. And that's in Bradford County, only one on their whole grid here, so that's in Western Columbia. So that's good news so far, but that could always change here depending on how things set up. Wind's pretty much gone down all the way to 0 here east of Stark. Did get a gust of 15 now a few moments ago, as we talked about a third of an inch on that rain gauge, 0.36 inches they were observed here east of Stark. Not too serious though. But back in here now, we have a couple different areas we're watching. This area here, northeast of Perry, showing some stronger winds here. Let's kind of recap these warnings. We want to talk about what's going on northwestern areas of Lafayette County, as well as northern Taylor County and southeastern Madison until about 12:30 this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm threat there. Severe thunderstorm threat here for parts of Taylor and Madison, as well as we're getting further up to the north. This is north central Taylor and Madison until about 12:15. And then as we look here toward the east, parts of Swanee, Hamilton, and Eccles until about 12:30. And then Lowndes County in there, as well as Lanier and Brooks until about 12:30. So you can kind of see some stronger wind around Dasher showing up there. Could cause some damage there as they're looking between Valdosta and Lake Park, just east of 75. Also some stronger wind moving towards Statenville there as we're getting toward Eccles County. I know we're being told a flood advisory now, by the way, for Columbia, Hamilton, and Swanee counties. Columbia, Hamilton, and Swanee counties until about 2:15 this afternoon. So some of those heavier downpours causing some issues here as we're looking at things. Let me read off the latest from the Weather Service in Jacksonville. So a portion of northern Florida, including areas there of Columbia, Hamilton, and Swanee, having that threat for some minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas with some water over maybe some roadways there at about 2:15. At about 12:12 or so, Doppler indicated heavy rain due to thunderstorms, and this will cause urban and small stream flooding. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have fallen. Additional amounts of 1 to 2 inches are expected over the area, and this additional rain will result in some minor flooding. So locations that will experience this include Jasper, Jennings, Swanee Springs, Swanee River State Park, Crossroads, Belmont, and Blue Springs. So that's kind of the storyline there. So let's go ahead and keep checking things here though. Again, seeing that gust today actually said officially it's 44. System rounds a little bit odd here sometimes. It rounds up or down, but at least it gives us the data a little bit quicker this way, even if it's 1 mile per hour off. Our system, just for whatever reason, I like to round those knots there. 1 up or 1 down here sometimes, but 44, 43, you can at least get the general idea of what happened there with a little more advanced notice per se to kind of get an idea of what could be happening off toward the north and east. So as we're kind of tracking things here, you can see it looks like some of the strongest wind here right there on that where that cross section of Roy and that cross of Lafayette and Taylor and Madison counties. Roy comes into play. We're all coming together there. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. We're looking at different things here in the Weather Center. One of our warnings just went away at 12:15 there. You see, and they kind of go between the latest scans and get that information. We just got a new advisory, by the way, for several counties now until 1:15. Bradford, Alachua, Baker, Union, Clay, Columbia, Swanee, Hamilton, Eccles, Clint's included. You'll see that pop up here in just a moment for the strong thunderstorm activity being a possibility. So again, just continuing to watch things here, continuing to monitor the scenario here in general. And as we talked about earlier on, folks, that they're getting out of church, this weather unfortunately having an impact. As you see that new advisory, being issued there. Again, some updates here in the chat. Just bear with me. So they canceled out Swanee now on the severe thunderstorm warning to the north, keeping Hamilton and Eccles until 12:30. So the latest is now that At 12:15, it's severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Lake Park to near Jennings, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. So Jennings, Statenville, and Mayday here, the community of Mayday under this threat, at least for the next 15 minutes or so. We'll be watching that potential here in some of these different spots. You can see Howell there. That's one of those communities being impacted. As we're looking at things, and now advisory in play that goes all the way through Hamilton's eastern fringe there. Northern Columbia, some stronger winds there. You see in Bradford there north of Stark, and that storm that we were watching, you see some of that wind from the Moody radar. Seeing there storms having that gust potential around 40 is what the Weather Service is saying. This line of storms from Jasper to Alachua, hopefully it doesn't find a gap here to strengthen. It may, though, because I'm looking at instability numbers. They're high enough to maybe give us some problems here. There is that marginal risk, so can't rule out some strengthening unless we get some more type of development here that kind of prohibits that here, kind of getting more scattered and just some rain out ahead, and maybe we would kind of preclude that. We're starting to see some of those really dark purples indicative of over 5,000 joules per kilogram worth of energy toward Flagler and Putnam counties, but it didn't always matter like that. It's a situation here where sometimes the overall pattern has some of the factors in play that cause or prohibit severe weather potential. So just keep that in mind. New advisory reports to Swanee until 12:45. Let's go ahead and see that marginal risk there again. You see that in the green. And of course, just a reminder here that we're live right now on Facebook, Casey Cloud Everybody at Clouds Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey, YouTube at Clouds Weather there, and also going on over to Twitch there, Clouds Weather, cloudweather.com. We have a list of all the different sources we're on, and then you have that interactive radar there available on the radar tab. Just something to kind of bear in mind there as well. Just important to kind of take into consideration. Just want to make sure you guys know everything that's going on here this afternoon. Hopefully we don't have to be on near as long as we did yesterday. I'm kind of hopeful it may not happen like this, but we haven't seen any extension to the warnings yet. So maybe we'll get lucky here and they deem these just under severe here. And in that case, if that's the case for all of these areas, we'd wrap it up here if we don't have any new warnings being issued. But right now, we got to stick with this here as we are seeing disruption to your lunch hour. Even if these storms aren't severe, they're still causing some problems here on this Sunday. So, again, looking here south of Madison. We're looking there south of Madison right now. Some wind enhancement. Again, some more in Hamilton's eastern areas, but no warning formally. It's kind of murky. I mean, these aren't the brightest colors in the world here. So right now, holding under severe thunderstorm warning criteria would seem as we continue to check everything here to keep you guys safe and informed. So again, let me just go ahead and keep checking some of my different sources here. We're going to keep looking at things. I'm going to keep giving you guys all those latest updates here as they do come on in. So let me go ahead and just kind of zoom back out just a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and see. Again, we have still 3 warnings on the board. That area on Perry was moved from Perry at this point, and again, it's in more rural territory where Lafayette, where Taylor, and where Madison counties come together. We have areas here towards South Georgia, here, moving up toward Howell there, and moving toward the radar site. But these ones right now look at just about 600 feet level on the order of 40 miles an hour, give or take. So hopefully that'll preclude another warning, but sometimes it makes it hard here when this stuff gets so close to the radar to know how really strong it is. When it's at a good range, you kind of get a good idea, but when it gets too close, it kind of makes things a little murky. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what they do here. Are continuing the warning for Lafayette, Madison, and Taylor for a few more moments, at least to 12:30. They're going to trim out Perry, I would think, here when this comes across. I just sent it out, but it'll show up here on this screen here in just a second. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind here as we're looking at things. By the way, we ended up with 4/10 of an inch here east of Stark. So on that event of rain here that we just had. But, so Lafayette, Taylor, Madison to 12:30 at 12:20. Severe thunderstorm located 8 miles west of Dowling Park or 14 miles south of Madison. Moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. Townsend over toward Lake Bird, Chansey, Smith, the Buckville area, Day, and Mayo Junction here included in this. So again, still watching to see if another warning may be required or not. I know some of this gets more toward Jacksonville territory, and the criteria there is the same, obviously, but different folks looking at things can have a little bit different interpretation. These are kind of marginal one way or the other, so it's kind of a close call right now. Anyway, but as we go ahead and look at things here, you can see moving toward the Doppler radar there at Moody Air Force Base. C1's about 45 here on the east side, and really getting outside of Valdosta here at this point. Look at the topography. So again, just going to continue to monitor the situation. And there is a significant weather advisory that has been issued now at 12:21 for some of this action there for winds around 40 miles an hour. That goes until about 12:45. Hamilton, Clinton, Eccles counties. So that's a pretty short fuse significant weather advisory. Maybe they're thinking right now it doesn't meet severe criteria, but that could strengthen pretty quickly here. They just want to kind of see how things play out possibly, and then they can always put a significant weather advisory on this, or they can put a new severe thunderstorm warning in there at some point, or multiple if that were to be required, but hopefully it's not. We'll just have to keep looking at things again. Looking at some of our different scans here. You see I'm not really focusing on the polygon just completely because we're not seeing a whole bunch of coloration within these indicative of really strong winds, but we'll just have to keep monitoring the situation. It would almost seem, again, as I kind of mentioned, Eastern Hamilton almost has winds that look about as strong as what we're seeing within the morning right now. Maybe just a tad weaker, but that could be kind of helping us not get this to be as strong in the north here as we kind of get some stuff coming together to back it up. You can kind of see we had some stuff a little bit more individualized earlier on. So maybe this will kind of help cut that severe potential down some here. We'll have to wait and see, obviously. We still have these temperatures, and we go ahead and pull those up real quick. We want to pull those up into our system, give you the latest numbers there, and see those give us the latest updates. So, again, you can see 89 degrees there on Jacksonville International Airport, but 79 around Keystone now. We're at 78 degrees here east of Stark, by the way, if you're wondering. As we're looking at things here, just trying to give you guys updates. 86 in Waycross, though 89 toward parts of Glenn County, so that could still be enough here to give us some more warnings, but it's not temperatures in the 90s here in a widespread manner, at least. Not like mid-90s here. I know, just getting reports in. 1214 Lowndes County Dispatch reported a tree down on a power line on Johnson Street in Valdosta. So even if we didn't have widespread severe winds around Valdosta, these type of winds can knock down some trees, as evidenced by that report. So kind of backing that up, you can see how we had that wind pattern come through. Some brighter colors and a broad stretch there. Right now moving more toward Moody Air Force Base, though, with a more concentrated area, it would seem, but I didn't mean those are severe, but they could still cause some damage. Severe, I mean, it's kind of tricky because 50 miles an hour is technically severe, but storms can still be verified, really, even if you don't have the median 58, because the damage indicates that we had 58 in between observation sites, not out of the question at least. So something to keep in mind there. I know we're looking to the south. We're looking over toward the east here, trying to give you guys the latest. Looking there southeast of Jasper. I mean, and also the warnings. I mean, I know we talk about the certain criteria, but really the warnings are to help people be prepared and be on the lookout for severe weather conditions in their areas. I mean, you know, you don't want to be caught off guard, and that's what these warnings are helping to do, to make sure people are giving that heads up. So, did expire in the warning that was in place for Hamilton and Eccles. So, hopefully that's a good sign here. I know we're kind of on the boundary between Tallahassee and Jacksonville. I mean, kind of a situation where you can have severe thunderstorm warnings or strongly worded special weather statements, significant weather advisories here at this point. So, kind of in a scenario here that you can go either way with this. And at least right now, based on some of the way these advisories are looking, I'm thinking that's probably where they're going with this, is to more advisories instead of warnings. But we have had a little bit of damage here and there. It's just not really widespread. But here and there, you can have some damage. Even if you don't have the winds of 60 or even 55, I mean, winds of 40, 45, 50 in these areas based on what we've seen on radar. That's mainly what we've been seeing with the pixels today. This could still cause some isolated areas of damage. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind the marginal risk of severe weather does continue. We'll get another update from the Storm Prediction Center on that here pretty soon. This is the update from about 8:51 this morning, but looking there, we'll get another update pretty soon. I suspect we'll have maybe some areas trimmed out of this, but it may not. So too big of a change here. I just think maybe around Tallahassee, maybe we're kind of in a situation here where they don't want to keep the formal risk because the instability values have really gone down. There is some stuff that could build back in, I suppose, but let's kind of look at this together because things are happening on the fly here. So let's go ahead and take off some of our stuff real quick. I'll keep up the current warnings of lightning, but I just want to pull up our model guidance here. So let me get our latest model guidance in here. So see how it's initializing. That's helpful here. Okay, that's supposed to be around 12 o'clock. So it's doing okay, actually. And sometimes it doesn't, and you can see how it actually is a lot slower, though, than what it's doing, or what it looks like it's progressing as. If it goes really slow here, I mean, it can help destabilize out ahead in some ways, but also make it harder for areas to get any more severe weather further back here, closer toward the apex of what's happening now. But this does show some more development later, but it may be suppressed some here, some kind of going back and forth, if you're wondering what I'm doing. So that's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Again, the models, sometimes they haven't been great, sometimes they've been okay. That looked like it was initializing all right, but we'll see if it kind of holds here on doing a decent job. But the HRRR run there. But moving northeast at 20 miles an hour, we have that one warning in play. So that's pretty slow movement, really. I mean, in theory, I don't know if it's going to quite take this long. The model would say so want to take a while, but I mean, it could take 4 hours to go across southeast Georgia, that one area where we have the warning in Georgia. And then in Florida, they're saying the movement here is northeast at 25. The opposite in Tallahassee. So that gets you a few hours still, maybe there. So we'll see, but it could also be a situation where we have stuff ahead, kind of diminish things enough where it's just more strong storms. That's kind of where I would go with this. I mean, with mainly just strong storms here this afternoon, we don't have many more warnings, but I wouldn't rule out a couple with that heat. You see towards St. John's and toward eastern Duval there, we're getting in the 90s. That's the area maybe we get a little bit more kick here with some of these storms to get a couple more warnings here today. Maybe some things coming together, but not something that's an overwhelming threat here. I do see that our latest risk area has been trimmed back, so they're kind of thinking what I'm thinking here. So Tallahassee's been trimmed out of this risk for the rest of the day. Not saying we couldn't have something redevelop back there. It's not a zero chance, but overall, that makes the most sense here. That the wind risk is further out toward the east, and then no hail risk really showing up. That's not what we've been tracking here today. So Tallahassee over toward Thomasville, Bainbridge, you're seeing that risk kind of be trimmed away. Still risk toward Albany. Some of these areas that are a little bit warmer and toward the 80s, though. A little more energy here left on over, so something to kind of bear in mind. I know we do have a risk up that's gone up a little bit up into the Carolinas, it would seem. Towards Charlotte and Greenville here. You see they're talking about maybe issuing a watch even for that area. So some damaging gusts possible there, some small hail. Not out of the question in that area, but mainly by the damaging gust there. So that's something to watch. Speaking of something else to look at here and be happy about for the time being, at least, as we got rid of those other two remaining warnings. So hopefully that's a good sign here, but it's still going to be a stormy day. Make sure whenever that thunder rumbles, go inside. Go away there from those windows. Get away from those windows here. Because you just don't want to mess around here, because we had, again, issues here looking back with some lightning problems here within the region. So, again, that can be dangerous. It can be deadly sometimes. That lightning doesn't take severe weather Doesn't even take a strong storm, just one lightning strike. If it's cloud to ground, it can be deadly here. And that has happened way away from apparent thunderstorms before. So this isn't weather you want to be out in right now, if you can help it. I mean, if you're hearing that thunder rumble at least. So, or in an 8-mile radius even of any lightning, even if you don't hear the thunder rumble, you don't want to be out there within an 8-mile radius here, that lightning, because it could really quickly, you could kind of see a jump there further on over. It's unlikely in some cases, but it has happened and it has proved deadly before, so keep that in mind. Looking at our different data here in the Weather Center, 79 degrees here east of Stark right now, that current observation, that current temperature reading. Let me go ahead and see here instability. Again, you still see some of these values a little higher. I mean, Flagler County could be another area. If this stuff kind of can get itself together, maybe a little bit more, we could have an issue toward Palm Coast. Maybe not, but it's just there's a chance of that happening. Didn't really keep them quite that precisely, but it's just something to keep in mind. So we're looking at different skins here. I am seeing some, I must have got to wonder here, Northern Columbia. I mean, we're still seeing some stronger winds in there. Let's just make sure we don't have anything that gets closer to severe. I mean, these numbers, they look, the wind color racing here on our velocity, it looks stronger than the numbers actually are. These are actually only in the 30 range. It's just the way things are hidden. 38, I see about the peak on this, so I'm not that close to severe. And it's going to be moving over pretty rural areas here for a bit before maybe emerging there further over. And then that's when we hit the heating of the day here that was able to get into play. You could have some problems. So again, we'll watch, we'll track it here for you. But again, no formal warnings. We had 4 at one point. Right now, no formal warnings on the board. So that's the good news here from the Weather Center. Let me see if there's any questions from any of the viewers at home. If there's not, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it on up unless we see a new warning or something like that issued. So don't have anything new here right now in terms of questions or anything like that. But again, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday afternoon. We're just got a new significant weather advisory now for Lowndes and Lanier. Southeastern Lanier, East Central Lowndes counties until about 1. So again, that's an area we'll watch to see. Let's kind of look in there. Maybe some wind up there right near the radar site even coming into play. I know, let's see if we've had any gusts here at Moody that are interesting. Be curious to see. Not even showing up there. So there's your advisory though, showing up. But let's see. So only 7 miles an hour at Moody, and then to the south only 5. So I think that's why they don't want to reissue, because these winds aren't showing up that widespread here. But this advisory is for wind gusts up to 50 now, closer toward the actual radar. It's a little tricky because you have your sight way back here with the observation, but then you have the actual radar sight further off toward the east a little bit. And they are saying now that there may be some strengthening going on by going to an advisory to 50, a small one. Be interesting to know if we can maybe get some data from there. If the winds were to get a little bit stronger there, then they probably have to issue a warning. But that'd be a more rural area. I mean, Homerville may get included in that, but that might be a situation unless we really see something pop out where we just post about the warning like we did at the very beginning earlier on. They're posted on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Facebook Clouds Weather. We just saw a situation where we started to get a slew of warnings, a slew of threats coming into play, so that's where we jumped on here about an hour ago. But you have Twitter at Cloud Casey posting the warnings there, in addition to the Facebook platforms, and live streaming takes place on those, as well as YouTube at Clouds Weather. Make sure subscribe now, that's free. Enable those notifications so you know when we're coming on to give you guys the latest. And then I see you have Twitch there, Clouds Weather. So important things to keep in mind there. And you have cloudweather.com, a list of all those, and then the interactive radar tab available there. We're just being told now Madison County. We were talking about it earlier on. I know it's not the easiest city to pronounce, but Pinetta, however you want to pronounce it. We did have some wind damage there. Tree and then power lines down there in town on Northeast Persimmon Drive. So it was 11:47 this morning. So since we were on the air, we had some damage there in that area in Madison County. Thunderstorm wind damage right in town, according to Madison County Dispatch. They're reporting that. So again, Just trying to give you guys the latest there. Trying to give you guys the very latest. Let me see if there's any power outage map updates that I think you guys need to know about at home. Let me go ahead and see what we have in terms of those here. I'm going to check on the latest here. Florida, 4,095 customers in the dark according to Power.us right now. Looking there, Jefferson County, 145 customers in the dark. Madison County, 253. Dixie County, 248. Levy, 243. So nothing really widespread or high. 281 in Swanee. Let's go up to Georgia, see what type of numbers we're seeing up there. In the Peach State, just over the border. See what we have there. So we have, it looks like 68 in Grady, 5 in Thomas, none in Brooks, none in Lowndes so far at least. A little surprising. Echoes, none. I may check on Lowndes specifically. Clint's none. Few in Ben Hill. I see. So that's something that's lingered from yesterday in there, the day before even. Let's check Georgia Power. I just want to see if there's anything in Lowndes showing up here. And maybe it's not picking up on the aggregate map. If not, then that's a good sign. I know we had a little bit of damage in the county, but could have just been an anomaly more than anything. So again, I'm just watching things here. Again, right near the radar site. I mean, that's a little bit of stronger wind coming right over that area there. Some lightning in there as well. The KVAC site there, of course. Looking there, again, a little bit of stronger wind now showing up on this area here. Not overwhelming, but it's pretty rural as well. Moving up toward Taylor and Pontiac. Just give you guys a heads up. Another area that if we get a warning, it may not come back unless it's pretty overwhelming. It's pretty rural out here. It does look at strengthening though. Northeastern parts and eastern parts of Columbia County, seeing winds to about 40 now, 44. Showing up there here in toward that area. It's kind of on the edge of this, so maybe let's look at the times here. Well, that's a little off, a couple minutes ahead with velocity, so probably is getting down there to the surface, but that's very rural territory. And even, I mean, it would be a while as it goes across that area. I've been there in that region there, that vicinity before, and I know them Baker and the Charleston, that's pretty rural territory. So, again, I just so you guys know, we're talking about 45 on the winds, so, but not quite as severe yet. If that were to strengthen a little more, they might have something, but right now not quite there, I don't think. I know with the radar getting kind of hit by these storms too, maybe obscured a little bit. Let's see what Jacksonville is showing. It may be showing a little higher or lower. Okay, it's about the same actually. About 45 miles an hour in here right now. 46 maybe showing up somewhere in there, but doesn't look that organized, but it does show some wind there. So we'll watch it. We'll track it here in the Weather Center. Again, you have that radar at cloudweather.com. That radar tab, you can click on that when we're not on to check things out. And of course, if we need to come back on, we will. And if we just need to post warnings, we'll do that here as well. So just continuing to monitor the situation on this Sunday afternoon. It still is one where, I mean, we had some damage even yesterday without a warning in Middleburg. It doesn't take a severe warning always to have some damage in play from the storms or boundaries or the like here this time of year. Got to really just kind of take it upon yourself to some degree to be paying attention here, and whenever thunder rumbles, go indoors, and when things just kind of turn nastier, go inside, and just to be protecting yourself here from the severe weather potential that's impacting parts of the region. So it's just going to keep an eye on things here, and if we need to come back, we will, but otherwise, enjoy that Sunday here. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me for now.